Hello and welcome to Look Who's Talking, the #1 Doctor Who discussion show on Full Fat Video's channel. Chris, what did you think of Arachnids in the UK?
I thought it was really good, and for me that was the best episode of the season.
I thought it was very good, but not as good as the pilot. Not the pilot from Series 10.
Right, okay, yeah, I mean, I was going to...
The pilot episode has completely escaped me, I can't remember what it was called.
It was called The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
That was
See,
it.
I could have given you a fake title there. I was trying really quickly generate a fake title, but I had nothing, and now that joke has expired. No, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think, obviously, it was maybe a classic episode, but I think too often people think that for a Doctor episode to be good, it has to be like deeply philosophical or a genre break, like something like Blink or Heaven Sent, or Human Nature, you know, this big towering epic. And actually, that was just really, really, really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And it reinstated a lot of my faith that perhaps was lost last week. Not necessarily in the scripting, it was more the cinematography and the editing, which we kind of covered in last week's episode. We weren't happy with the way Rosa was shot, but this was much better.
I feel like I've got a really good grasp now of Chibnall's vision for the series.
Yes.
Like, I feel like what the Woman Who Fell to Earth promised has kind of been reiterated in this episode.
Yeah.
It's slightly slower. We get the 5 or 10 minutes at the end where the characters have breathing moments. We always get those scenes and callbacks where the characters have good character moments, and we get fun and romps in a way that we've not had consistently since Russell T Davies' era.
No, and I think this is the best doctoring we've gotten from Jodie Whittaker. I felt like in the last episode, I wasn't buying her being stern and commanding and having a grasp of the situation, whereas this was day and night different. I felt like she had a lid on everything. I felt like she was intimidating at points. She, who is Mr. Big in Sex and the City in this? I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah, the president.
The will be president.
2020, yeah.
Should we just call him Mr. Big?
Yeah, let's call him Mr. Big.
That's his name in Sex and the City, which I'm sure you're all fans of, and we'll be doing a discussion show weekly after Doctor Who's aired.
It's rewatching Matt's Sex and the City DVDs, which he does actually have.
Seasons 1 to 10.
It's not a joke, I would go and get them, but the microphone's on me. I might go and get them in a future video. I might start with them, actually.
I won them. I didn't choose to buy them. It was a joke prize. Oh, God.
Anyway, I felt, again, like I said, in week 1, that this felt kind of like Sarah Jane Adventures, tonally.
Yep.
Like, it's a gang of people, everyone has their role to play, and particularly in scenes like where you had Yaz and the Doctor in one location, sorting the sort of the mystery of the spiders through Yaz's connection, and you had Ryan and Brad capturing the spider.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like everyone has like a bit part to play.
And I liked that the spiders weren't evil. They were domesticated spiders that had just grown bigger, and essentially, because they had grown bigger, it made humans their flies. Like,
and they just got confused.
Yeah, they weren't malicious. And I liked when the Doctor had, was it garlic? That she
vinegar. It was vinegar because it was like Aliens of London.
Yes, yeah.
Which this episode really reminded me of, in that they've come back, there's character moments. The villain isn't the best villain, but it's not about the villain. It's about like spending time and going, oh, this is the culture shock that happens when you time travel and you come back to that normal life.
And like with Aliens of London, there's a moment where they double down on the decision to travel with the Doctor. Like in Rose, she's like, oh yeah, I'll go and travel with you. And then it's cemented by the end of that 2-parter that, yes, this is what I want to be doing. In the same way we got with Yaz and the gang.
I mean, let's talk about the last 5 minutes. I mean, that was, for me, the best part of the episode. And Bradley Walsh, I know we've been making jokes. Well, they're not jokes, they're serious. I do think he is the best of the 3 companions.
Yes.
Still, but a lot of that has come from the comedy. But tonight, actually, that little monologue he gave at the end was actually really good.
The thing that will stop him being Bernard Cribbins light are scenes like that, where he was coming across so well, and it actually moved me. And I think it's a really nice point for him to say, like, yes, I need time to get over my dead wife, and this is the best distraction, essentially.
Yeah, because I don't want to go back to the present, because I'll just be sitting around and there's nothing. It was nice because you kind of knew that there was nothing left for him.
Yes.
But now he said it.
Yes.
And it wasn't in a kind of expositional way, like you buy that was a real thing that a real person would say to someone.
This has also been the best Yaz has been.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like that she's not being tested in the police, so this makes sense for her to be like, well, I want to go on this adventure. I like her family. what we got of them.
Yeah, they were good fun. I really liked that flirty bit with her sister and Ryan. I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, that was funny. And I also like how the dad's a bit like of a busybody with the trash that he's collecting, and he thinks it's a big conspiracy theory. And then, of course, he's proved right.
And speaking of conspiracy theories, I thought it was a really cool tie-in to real life that Stormzy was chosen. And obviously, as everyone knows, Bradley Walsh and Stormzy are big fan, our big friends.
They're boys.
Yeah, they're boys. They have been for a long time, so it was nice to see a reference to that, which I'm sure Chibnall is aware of, and will be feeding into a Stormzy guest appearance later in the series, where him and Graham hang out. So that'll be great.
On the topic of conspiracy theories, I really liked that we got a kind of 1960s Marvel Comics. The toxic waste has got out of control.
Yeah.
That's why the spiders got massive, of course.
Yeah, it was weird to me because I came into this thinking, what are they going to do? I mean, they've obviously done spiders in Planet of the Spiders. I didn't want kind of a refread of, it's Metabilis free, because that story's kind of self-contained and it's all sort of like sorted. And on the flip side, I didn't want some kind of like weird, they're aliens coming to destroy the Earth or something.
Yeah.
I liked that it was very, again, kind of low stakes but high stakes. And one thing, not to sound like a weird nitpicky person, I am curious what happened to the other spiders outside of that hotel.
Yeah.
Because obviously they resolved all of that, but there's still spiders.
Yeah, that was a bit of an odd loose
Do they just
thread.
die?
I guess. Or maybe if they're getting... are they continuously getting bigger?
Yes.
Okay, so presumably what will happen to the giant spider at the end will happen to all of them.
Yeah.
I guess so. Which was also a really nice moment. It was a great idea to subvert we're going to gear up and be like Ghostbusters, and they get there and the spider's dying because it can't absorb oxygen fast enough.
And on that note, I thought it was really cool that, again, I forget his name, but the American villain shot the spider and just walked off.
Yeah,
I didn't want, it was like, everyone was like, that's awful, but it kind of felt relevant to be like, some people can just be awful and there's no consequence.
Yes.
And he probably will run for president. I mean, we were saying it would be kind of a nice feature to see him in it again as president.
I would like to see him function as kind of a darker Churchill figure in the sense of political figure, calls upon the Doctor, has a problem, needs sorting, like with Victory of the Daleks, but instead of them being friends, what if they get called upon, they turn up and it's him, and they're like, we don't really like you or agree with you, and then he can be like, yes, that's true, but I've also got this threat which is affecting innocent people, so come help me. That would be nice.
I think this villain was very similar in a weird way to Krasko from last week, but they just had that little extra thread line, which is what we said was missing. Like, Chibnall gave you the sort of minute of, I'm running for president, so this can't get out.
Yes.
You had genuine kind of, he felt like a character, like when his best friend died, his bodyguard, he was upset.
Yeah.
He got freaked out by the spiders.
But he also didn't hesitate in fear to lock him in the room.
Yeah, exactly. So
nice.
you had this guy as a bad person, but there are shades to his character. It was a definite improvement from last week's villain, who just felt like mustache twirling, but with no motive. I understood who this man was, why he was making the decisions he was making, why he was causing trouble.
Also, he was just fun to watch. Some of his deliveries, like when he was like, I'm whispering to spiders. He commanded every scene he was in. It was a lot of fun. The bit where he's looking into the sinkhole of the bath and it's starting to crack and then the spider jumps out, that was really cool.
That was one of the best sequences. It felt like something from It, where the man got dragged down the bathtub. It felt really like It, and it was, I don't know, like, as I said at the beginning of this video, like, Doctor Who sometimes just needs to be fun, and we might disagree on this, but this reminded me, not in terms of quality, but in terms of tone, of Mummy on the Orient Express, in that it had really good performances, the villains were good, but it didn't feel like, people, as I say, people often go, that's a classic because it was weird and different, whereas this was just a very nice formulaic, but formulaic in a good way, like this is what Doctor Who does. It was fun.
I see the comparison. I think the delivery of information and the tension in Mummy on the Orient Express is much better. The thing that always makes Mummy so good for me is that last 20 minutes when they get locked in that single carriage. I was kind of hoping we'd get that from this, and that the fact that they were locked in that hotel meant it was going to funnel into them perhaps being in those alien-style catacombs, and you'd get a nice moment of tension. We didn't really quite get that. There were a few fun, rompy moments, but it didn't quite funnel in the way I wanted it to.
The only thing I felt about the hotel was I found the geography a bit non-distinct.
Yes.
Like, I felt like they had the panic room, they had the kitchen, but then the other rooms, I didn't really care.
Yes.
I know that sounds like a weird criticism, but I felt like if we'd have got more of the geography of the hotel, you would have felt more like, it would have felt more intense kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the walls were closing in at all.
No. Yeah. It's a bit disappointing that there's no two-parters this year. Because this would have been, not that it needed more fleshing out in terms of It felt rushed, but this would have been a really nice, like, all the spiders are advancing, cliffhanger, bigger time on the reveal, bigger time on the emotive moments. I don't necessarily think this would have been better as a two-parter, but it would have been an interesting two-parter.
And at the moment, it's all kind of, we're going into these catacombs, or like there's this threat which the general public don't know about. Like when they were in Alabama last week, like, no one knew what was actually happening. I would quite like to see a kind of Rusty Davies style, it's all over the news, people are panicking, the Doctor needs to save the world type thing.
But that's my only real criticism is I don't think it feels like Doctor Who sometimes without the cliffhangers. And that's what made Series 9 so good, was all the cliffhangers. You'd be like, oh, how are they getting out of this? And this, unfortunately, this year isn't going to do that. Maybe that'll be something in the next series.
The trade-off, though, is that we're taking our time to establish what's what with these characters, what they want to do, what their motivations are. I was saying to you, if this had been a Stephen Moffat episode, the decision for them to join the TARDIS and for Graham to get over his grief and all that kind of thing, that would have happened in episode 1. Whereas I think it's such a smart decision for Chibnall to be like, nope, episode 1, they'll meet, episode 2, they'll get the TARDIS, etc, etc.
Well, this is the thing, we said at the beginning, we were like, we're not sure we know who these characters are, and now I've kind of got used to the slow burn MO. I think it's going to be a bit like Series 8, in that at the end of it will only be at the end of the season that we're like, right, we know exactly who these people are.
Yes.
And then hopefully if they stick around in Series 12, whenever that is,
yeah, it better be coming out next year. I will really be so annoyed.
But whenever that is, we will then be like, right, we can do what Series 6 did and just be like, you know everyone, let's have some really good adventures. If the payoff of this series being slower is that we really get to know these characters and they're all really good. There's no one on this TARDIS team that I would necessarily like write out. You know, some years you're like, oh, that doesn't work. I hope this character goes. At the moment, I'm just like, I enjoy everyone. Everyone feels like a unit. It feels like a gang. Again, the Stranger Things MO of this is a team who solve mysteries is definitely paying off.
There's no weak links in that TARDIS team.
No, and Jodie Whittaker is growing on me. I still don't feel like we've had this defining I am the Doctor moment yet. But Capaldi didn't have that till the finale.
No, and I think she was growing way more into the role in this episode. Like the way she's sonicking things and the way she's going from A to B, she feels like she has a clear objective and a clear motive. Like you feel like she's telling people what to do.
The only thing that's missing for me a bit is, so even in Capaldi's first series, because he's so abrasive in that series, you're like, right, I can put the Doctor in this situation and I know how they'd respond. And you could kind of get that immediately from Deep Breath, even though the challenge of that series was developing his character. At the moment, I'm like, this happens to Jodie Whittaker. I don't know what her response is by default.
Yes.
And I had that with Matt Smith in the 11th hour. I had that with Tennant by this period in the series. Yes. When am I going to get that? I don't know whether that's just me at the moment. I mean, or you, or
I
us,
want to see something that's going to make her really angry, that's going to make her unravel, and to the point where they might be like, I'm not sure I agree with the way you're reacting. That would be good. I need a bit of conflict from that TARDIS team. At the moment, they all kind of chew on every word she says.
Yeah.
Whereas what's interesting about the Doctor and the companions, with like Donna and Ten, or Capaldi
Matt Smith smashing up the console.
Yes, like Capaldi and Clara is like when they disagree. So that's what I'm needing from the second half of the season.
But we don't know what's yet to come. I mean, now that we're pretty much nailing down to the point where we know what most of the stories are about now, haven't we? We've got next week's, which is on the space station. Got the India episode 6.
Yep. I think the pregnant man will be a character, and that won't be what the plot's about.
Well, from this trailer, I have no idea what this episode's going to be about, which is kind of exciting. And this is the thing, even with all the episode descriptions, I have no idea what they're going to be about. This Salem Witch Trials one that might be coming up looks awesome.
We're not sure of the tone either of every episode. No. I think the Salem Witch Trials is going to be the best episode. That's what I'm really excited for.
It's penultimate, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really don't know at this stage. I'm just excited each week, and I think that's, as we said at the start of this week, it's nice to be in a scenario where I'm looking forward to Doctor Who every week, which I didn't have in Series 10, especially with that bloated, terrible three-parter. Moffat, what were you thinking? I'm calling you out.
He's calling you out, mate.
I think Moffat watches our show.
He might. He's got time on his hands.
Hey, Stephen, if you're watching the show, comment below and put extra milky, smiley face. We'll know it's you. Have we got anything else to discuss about this episode?
I think we need to rank it using our incredibly flawed nondescript ranking system.
Yes. We've committed to this now, so unfortunately for the rest of Look Who's Talking, we'll be using this ranking system that makes absolutely no sense and has no basis in anything.
I'm going to once again go with semi-skimmed, because it's not quite full fat
You never
yet.
push the boat, do you? You never go creamy, you never go yoghurt. I mean, that's the...
It was creamy, it was semi-skimmed, bit creamy, quite delicious. I would have another glass of it.
I'm going to give it my first full fat of the season. I thought it was the
You
best.
gave the Women Who Fucked Work full fat.
No, I said it was semi-skimmed, but closer towards full fat. This is going to get my first.
Oh,
this is going to get my first. I did indeed. If you obviously, if you want to see which one of us is right, you should check out the original video. I don't know what time code it is, so you're gonna have to watch the whole thing.
Yep.
Anyway, I would give it a full fat. This was my favourite of the season. I thought everyone in it was excellent, and I really, really enjoyed it.
For me, I'd go Woman Who Fell to Earth, this, Rosa, Ghost Monument. But none of them have been bad. But this was good.
Okay. There is nothing else left to discuss this week, which is
there
very
isn't.
strange because normally we ramble on for a lot.
We do. I'm hoping that the doors are closing over me and that I don't need to do a sign-off.
Yes.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Full Fat Videos YouTube channel.